Don't move to North Carolina unless you can handle these things. Hi, this is Chris Morton, real estate broker with eXp Realty in Raleigh, North Carolina, and there's some things about our state you need to consider and know about before you make the move, and maybe it might make you want to reconsider moving to North Carolina. Things like our weather. So now, most of the year, North Carolina has really nice weather. We've got great mild winters. Fall is really cool with the leaves and things. Spring is a great season. Summer is really good too if you like hot weather, but along with summer, you get storms. And truth be told, you can get these storms just about any time of the year, but I'm talking about the big thunderstorms. They roll in generally in the warmer months. You can get them any time of the day. It doesn't really matter, but typically you're gonna see them in the afternoon, and they can range anywhere from like a nice normal rain that we need to replenish our water supply, that sort of thing, all the way to these really strong storms that like literally you have to pull off the road because you can't see in front of you. So those are some things you need to be worried about and prepared for and think about if you're thinking about North Carolina as your next home. You can always tell the newcomers to our area because they are usually drive like bats out of you-know-what in these really powerful storms, and they end up in the ditches. Also, you may have heard about our hurricanes. We do have hurricanes in North Carolina. They usually affect the coasts of the state more than any other part of the state, but they do tend to sometimes come inland, and when they do come inland, you're going to get those really powerful thunderstorms, also some tornadoes potentially. So definitely something you need to be aware of no matter if you live on the coast, the center of the state, the Piedmont, or the mountains. Could happen just about anywhere. Along with the storms you're going to find in these warmer months, you need to be prepared for the humidity. So North Carolina is a coastal state. We're also in the south, and those are two things that really mix well to cause humidity. Humidity being that warm, sticky, hot, not dry air, but really moist air. It causes lots of aggravation, may mess up your hair, and it definitely makes it pretty unbearable. The worst kind of humidity is the humidity that happens after those big thunderstorms I told you about earlier. The thunderstorm goes away during the day, the sun comes out, and the humidity goes up. The next thing about North Carolina you need to be prepared for is how green it is. So North Carolina is very tropical, lush, beautiful land with great trees, great shrubs, great flowers, and all of that sort of thing. It's really beautiful. In fact, that is probably the number one thing that newcomers that I'm out showing homes to comment about and compliment North Carolina on is how green it is. And it's really great. It's beautiful, but there is a downside. If you're on some of these 2-lane country roads at night where there's not a lot of lights out and there's lots of trees and bushes and whatnot, it's gonna obstruct the moon and make that drive a little bit more treacherous, especially if it's a windy road. So be prepared and know, even though it's beautiful, there is the downside of making it a little tough to drive, especially at night. Next thing you need to know about North Carolina is our power outages. So when you mix those storms I told you about earlier with those beautiful trees, unfortunately the storms are going to cause some of those tree limbs to snap. Tree limbs are going to fall on power lines are going to break, and it means you lose power. So this can happen with these storms. It could happen with ice storms as well in the winter, so you got to be prepared for it. And the power could be out anywhere from a couple minutes, couple hours, all the way to a few days, depending on how big and bad the storm is. Along with those hurricanes, if you have a hurricane, you probably will lose power in your area. Be prepared for it, either these big storms or these hurricanes, by stocking up on water and food, and definitely recommend you get a generator, especially if you are in an area that gets a lot of hurricanes and therefore a lot of power outages. Definitely something you want to invest in. The last thing you want to do is be hanging out at one of the hardware stores waiting for their allocation of generators to come in when you've got no power, your food is thawing out in the refrigerator, and everybody at your house is miserable. Next thing you need to be prepared for are our bugs. So again, we have a relatively warm climate. Bugs don't die off necessarily in the winter because we don't get that cold here. So you got to be prepared for the mosquitoes and the wasps and the yellow jackets and the ticks and all the other critters that are out there. It's just something we've learned to live with. And of course, our state bug, the fly. You got to be prepared for it and understand it. That's why a lot of people have screened-in porches in North Carolina, because it allows you to enjoy the outside and not be subjected and taken off, as we say here. I'm going to get taken off by these bugs. You don't want to be taken off by a bug, let me tell you. Next thing about North Carolina you need to be prepared for are meeting people with differing opinions. So North Carolina is famous for our diverse opinions, and that all these opinions are welcome. And this goes for what barbecue is best all the way to what our political opinions are. So I would give you the advice, as I give all newcomers, keep your political opinions and your opinions about much of anything to yourself, like we locals do. It makes life a lot easier. Next thing about North Carolina you need to be aware about is our allergies. So due to our lush tropical plants, they're going to give off pollen, and pollen causes allergies. It's something I suffer with throughout the year, and it's something you need to be prepared for. Even if you've never had allergies in your current place that you live, you may end up acquiring these things when you're here and end up sneezing your heads off. And it really depends on what kind of pollen affects you. Some people have no impact when it's pollen season. Some people, like me, go crazy and go through a box or two of Kleenexes. It all really depends on your physiology and what affects you. But please don't think that everyone here is suffering from allergies. In fact, I have a client who I've just sold a house to who's moving from out west where the air is very dry. Her doctor told her to move to a more humid climate. She picked North Carolina, and she's thriving here now. Her allergies are actually better because she's moved to North Carolina away from the west. So go figure. So my advice to you on allergies, just do your research, be prepared, get your medicines like your decongestants and all that sort of stuff, or go see your doctor when you get here if you suffer. It can be avoided. Some people have it just sporadically through the year. Some people unfortunately suffer throughout the year. Do your research and be prepared. Next thing about North Carolina you need to know about, it's more expensive to move here. So North Carolina is always landing in the top 5 of all of these famous lists. And with that, a lot of people are moving here and very few people are leaving. So if you are coming from a state that a lot of people are leaving, like California, New York, and trying to come here, you can expect your moving trucks to be a lot more expensive than you would expect. Beyond that, housing is not as inexpensive as people think. Now, granted, you can find a home in some of the rural parts of our state, and it could be definitely considered a deal based on where you're from, but please don't expect moving to one of the bigger cities that you're gonna get a great deal. Homes are selling very rapidly in the big cities, and they are unfortunately not selling for a deal anymore. Next thing about North Carolina you need to be aware of are the rude people. So we have a lot of aggressive drivers. They are trying to run you off the road. They are leaving their shopping carts out and about. They're not saying thank you and please. They're pushy. They're not opening the door for you. All the things that you don't want to experience around people. We're unfortunately getting a taste of that here. So we're getting an influx of people coming in, and everyone is attracted here because of the Southern hospitality and the politeness that they've heard about from North Carolinians. And unfortunately, some of those people are not adopting that same politeness and tone that the locals have. And so it's causing a lot of tensions. You're even starting to see locals that are acting a little aggressive. So it's getting a little bit bad. And unfortunately, it used to not be like this. It's getting a little worse, something you need to be prepared for and accept, and hopefully we can all improve ourselves and be a little more cheerful when we're out driving and interacting with our fellow North Carolinians in the future. So the bottom line with this one is, do like your mama told you and play nice. If you like the content we've been putting out on a weekly basis, we would really appreciate it if you would hit the subscribe button below and also hit the like button and show us some love. Check out this other video we shot recently as well. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.